Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, the article that I'm going to show you tonight is from the AP. Now, the AP put this article out, and it is straight out an attack on the Second Amendment. It paints anyone as a Second Amendment supporter as an extremist, but at the same time as a law-abiding citizen. Then it goes into the far left possibilities, the far right possibilities, and basically boils down to the idea that if you are a Second Amendment supporter, you have opened the door to extremist views, and therefore you could end up anywhere from the far left socialists to the far right Nazis. It's crazy, and it all boils down to guns because they opened the door. It's the gateway drug of the extremist movements. That's what we're going to look at. Now, this article, fair warning, is as scattered as a rabbit on speed. I'm going to be honest. It goes from gun shows to far right to far left. It goes everywhere. But the core root here is it really dives into the fact that if you are a Second Amendment supporter, you're opening the door to extremism. No matter where you take it, the door is now opened. That's what we're going to talk about, and that's the reason that on January 1, we are introducing something that is going to change the game for the Second Amendment. We are going to start to go on offense and give these people something to think about other than constantly being on defense. I want you guys to be the first ones to know about it. It's in the description box below, right above this article. It's a free newsletter. Jump on there. If you've already done it, you don't need to do it again. I want you guys to be able to be founding members of this because this is going to make an impact. But now, enough of that. Let's dive into this article, see if we can trap this rabbit on speed in a corner. Article title: Down the Barrel of a Gun. How Second Amendment activism can be a gateway to extremist ideologies. See, I told you. Here we go. Get your tinfoil hats on, people, because this is something. The Atlanta Gun Show, held over a weekend in late September. Late September. Why are you bringing it up in late December? Had everything one might need for a coming apocalypse or civil war. Flamethrowers, hundreds of rifles, thousands of handguns and knives, body armor, survival kits, medical supplies. I mean, really, that just sounds like a Tuesday. I'm just going to be honest. It's a nice little range day, but I digress. Gun shows like this have long been part of a connective tissue between mainstream conservatism and American extremist movement. The vast majority of gun owners are law-abiding citizens. So the vast majority of law-abiding citizens. Okay, so what are we talking about? Keep in mind, they opened with, most of us aren't these people. But let's continue. But experts and former members of extremist far right said a passion for gun rights often serves as a gateway to radicalization, one eagerly exploited by recruiters and leaders in the movement. Yeah, because every socialist, fascist, communist government takeover in the entire world has always been about gun rights. No, they have all the guns because they're legal. They take power and then they take the guns away from the people. So the same thing doesn't happen to them. They maintain and consolidate power. That's the entire history of the 20th century in the United States and the world. Look it up. It's a great story, but let's keep diving in here. Quote, "It is one of those things that far-right activists will use to get in the door," said Jeff Shope. He was once the leader of a national socialist movement. So this guy was a Nazi. The largest neo-Nazi organization in the United States. Now he advocates for leaving the life. Just like illegal immigration, guns, the gun rights issue, all of these things are gateways that can be utilized. Newsflash, anything can be utilized to radicalize somebody. I can think of a lot of very big things of pillars of situations in the whole world that have been used to radicalize things. It's not just guns. But they're utilizing guns in this way in the love and the passion of the Second Amendment that we have and painting us as extremists. Do you see what they're doing slowly in this article? It's not about, oh, you have guns. In fact, most of us are law-abiding. But those rascally Second Amendment advocates, they kind of get extremist. And look what can happen. It can happen with anything, not just firearms. And that's the first thing I want to bring up. Opponents of gun control have been pushing fears about the government taking away Americans' guns for decades, said Igor Volsky, executive director of Guns Down America, which advocates for stricter gun rules. Time out. Igor Volsky might sound familiar. We've talked about him multiple times on this channel. He was involved in the earlier iterations of the Build Back Better plan, of the American Rescue Plan. If you recall, we talked about him a whole lot because he was quoted around the stricter gun laws, H.R. 8, 1446, all of those things that happened earlier this year. He was involved in that. But now he's saying, well, it's the right extremists. They do that. And they're just saying they take away guns. Meanwhile, Guns Down America, which advocates for stricter gun control, not gun laws. It's my first little point I'd like to bring up. Gun culture and gun rhetoric is itself bathed, saturated in extremist conspiracy theories, Volsky said. What all of these conspiracy theories have in common, what this rhetoric really emphasizes, is the fear that a powerful government is going to come in and disarm you and impose their values onto you. What historians call the 20th century. There are literally countries right now in existence, this exact thing that he's saying is a conspiracy theory happened to. China, Russia, Venezuela. You've got lots of other countries. How about Cuba? We are one of the only gems in the entire planet of complete freedom based off the Second Amendment. But it's conspiracy theory. This would never happen in a civilized world, even though it happened all the way from 1901 to 2000. This is insane the way that they just whitewash history. But I digress with go to my last piece because this is nutso. But the pipeline from Second Amendment activism to extremism isn't exclusively a far-right problem. And then the article goes into multiple different groups on the far left and on the far right. The whole point here is this article bounced around from law-abiding citizens own the Second Amendment rights, and they were good, all the way to, well, now it's a left and a right problem, but the core problem is really the Second Amendment. Do you see how that went? Granted, it was like a crayon with a 3-year-old, but it did get to the point of gun control good, gun bad, Second Amendment extreme. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden, signing out.